No, one more.
Recording in progress.
Okay. I call the finance committee meeting to order. Roll call, Brian.
Keller,
Present.
McCreary,
Present.
and Cosgrave is at absent.
Okay, also in to the attendant, we got the mayor, the board's administrator, fiscal officer, and the chief, and one councilman, Debbie Shaw. Also is tonight. Approve of the minutes of June 13, 2002.
McCreary, I would like to approve the minutes as written.
And I second. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call. Brian?
McCreary,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes. Okay, the minutes is approved as email printed. Visitors. Anything say? Nope. Okay. Goal for 2022, keep spending within the 2022 appropriations. Good job, Brian. Really good job. Old business. None. New business. Review the financials. Okay.
Okay, so last month, we ended up with a bank and book balance of $2,501,562.89. Let's see, no total receipts last month was $355,324. That's $355,324.36. Checks that I wrote last month, or total payments last month, was $585,501.22. We'll see the detailed check register here in a minute. We had 2 deposits and transits, credit card transactions. As you can see, there's $17,000 in outstanding checks. And the adjustments at the top there, 303, those are just NSF checks, that came through the last month. And the second page is basically showing you what prior and entered bank balances were. And then the next page, page 3, is the outstanding checks. Like I said, $17,979. And the next page is outstanding receipts, the 2 credit card transactions for water and sewer. And that's it for the reconciliation part. Any questions on that?
No, I don't.
And it looks like the next few pages is the payment listing for the month. Like I said, it was 585,000 roughly. And nothing really out of the ordinary on page 1 there. Page 2. Oh, page 2 down there, 186,000. That's the semi-annual payment for debt. That's the OWDA loan.
Okay,
The one before that is the OPWC loans payment, 23,000. Those were the automatic payments. Utility service, 23,000. One second, I can't remember what that was for. Oof.
the high trade.
The high treasure, 23,000.
Yeah,
That's OPWC loans.
okay. I know we don't sell that, and I know,
OPWC, I mean, it's technically to them, but we write to check to the Ohio Treasurer
okay.
in care of OPWC. Oh, the 23, that was that water tower payment. That was 23,000.
The utility service.
Yes, that was the last, as you remember, the last 5 years was like 69,000. I think it was 69,000 and
This is
now,
much more reasonable.
so now the next 4 or 5 payments is 23,500. Next page on that, $68,000 to BK Lair for, that was for the Brown Kumler project. and 38,000 are insurance for the year. That's the liability, property, automobile insurance. That was 38,000 this year. Those were some of the largest. So now you know why we spent 585,000 last month.
Yeah, but like you say, this is some of the one-time payment, so.
Yes.
And the last page, that 6,200, that was for the auditors who were here 3 weeks ago, I believe.
Just about.
Which one? Very well.
Yeah, because I couldn't sign it. I
Yes.
read it about 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had you sign the rep letter.
So,
Yes, the other audit went very well. No comments, no nothing. And they didn't do a full blown audit because we qualified for a reduced audit where they just, it's been a long time since Baltimore has qualified for that particular audit. And what they do is they just look at some things like they
it's
make sure
spot
you're,
check.
they spot check five, they spot check the reconciliation to make sure it's accurate. They select, to make sure you post your property taxes
Right.
correctly, income taxes correctly. By
Usually
taking,
you do everything on time, and do things normally, they don't. They're the one that comes in.
and they just spot check 5 receipts, about 10 disbursements, make sure everything hunky dory there. And look, make sure that the budgets that were approved and updated were properly updated. They checked, made sure they selected one bid transaction to make sure that the village did the bidding
Yeah.
correctly. They scrutinized our public records requests and other issues, not issues, but things like make sure we have a policy, it's posted, that kind of stuff. So spot checked a bunch of things.
Plus they did a lot with the billing also. Did you say that?
Billing,
Billing, water. and
oh yeah,
sewer.
they also look at that stuff.
Okay.
Next is the metrics. Star Ohio interest last month was $487.
Interest is going up.
Interest is going up.
I like that.
Collections for Rita last month was $82,634, $635.
Before we move on, can I ask you something really specific on Star Ohio?
Okay, Which I
Put you on
don't-
the spot.
okay.
So June of this year, we got $487.07.
Mm-hmm,
Of course, last year stunk.
mm-hmm,
And in 2020, it was on its way down at $255.19.
mm-hmm.
What was our balance in 2020 compared to today? The reason I'm asking is if we got $200 more on $300,000 or less in there, we're doing
Okay.
good. But if we got $1 million more in there, we're just adding a penny for all that extra money, it's about the same, and the number
Oh,
itself can be a little.
Wait, I can answer that question. I have a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet for that. Well, I can answer that question. Let me look at
If that
it.
makes sense, Chuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then can we use that to pay, is that what you're thinking too, maybe some debt or something, or?
Well, we'll see on that. I just want to know, I mean, $487, that's the nominal value or the real value of it, but what's the nominal value compared to
Right.
prior year?
Prior year.
Okay,
Because
so-
if it's a larger balance and we're just getting the same interest rate, we just have more money in there, we're not really gaining
No,
anything.
you're right.
Well, Star Ohio 2 years ago was 514. Right now it stands at 516.
So it's about the same. So
Yeah,
we are
like
getting more
saying,
interest.
so, yeah, so the interest is going up,
Good.
the rate going up.
Okay, appropriation status then, we should be hovering around 50% since June ended. And as you can see, all the general street, water operating, sewer operating, and storm sewer are well below 50%. And revenues, and we are. So all in all, right now, everything's looking good, rev collection wise and so forth.
Anybody have any question on this? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, we need
I got to put it in appropriate, yeah. Let me pull up that.
motion.
June appropriations report.
Oh, okay. We'll get that.
Yeah, I mean, I went over there we go. I'll make it bigger. There they are.
Okay, good deal.
There. Maybe down one. So street lighting still is a concern. Um, And everything's in line or just for the general fund. For the street construction fund, as you can see, we've had some activity because I wrote a $68,000 check to BK last month. So capital outlay is now stands at 26%. And I have yet to get a bill for all the other road projects. So that's going to change. I'm sorry. Water funds currently at, if I can read that, 39%. Yeah. That may change because I think OPWC wrote a check to pay BK Lair their portion, and that hasn't been reflected yet. So that's been budgeted in that capital outlay portion. So that should change here in the near future. Sewer operations, 42, 14, 40%. Pool running at 28% right now. And storm is 5.75%. We have some encumbrances, so yes. 3,700. We have some activity plus. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago before I left. We talked about doing some things too. So things are happening.
Well, I'm gonna say the pool, the way the hot weather is, everybody's swimming over there. I mean, and
Yes.
I see a lot of pool parties going on.
Yeah,
You
pool-
said the memberships have increased.
Yeah, so it's-
I mean,
I
very
see-
much so.
I see posts occasionally where they say, we're almost at capacity or, we're at capacity.
Quick question about the street lighting, because I see what you mean, and obviously that's a lot. We did discuss earlier options regarding bulbs or something more environmentally friendly.
On the street
less
lighting?
Expensive to operate. Have we ever talked about that?
Terry, can you?
That would probably be a
is
different
that-
meeting,
Is
but
that
just
something
to-
that I,
We're at the mercy of AEP.
yeah, we're at the
We're
mercy. of
definitely at
AEP.
the mercy of AEP, and in August, the second week in August, I will be attending two seminars that talks about reduction of what we can do to help with our utility bills, not necessarily electricity, but at water and sewer facilities. So maybe I can bring something back.
I was just curious, because even if a small solar set or panels for some of those lights could help do some of that. I know there's a.
Which
initial
lights?
Investment, but street lights.
Do we lock in, I know AEP is a distributor or we buy, that. Do we lock in another company that, how a resident can lock in another electric company to get their rates lower? I want to call that on the bill.
I can answer that. Okay, Chuck, yes, every November through the county, the village voted on this back in 1919,
Yeah, I know we.
2014 or 15 to be part of the county program. And every November, they get notification, hey, you can save, and that's their time to do that. If they don't do it, then they stay status quo. I believe if that's the way it is. If they don't- So residents that aren't part of that program,
But that's for the village, the aggregation.
Yeah, that's what. I want.
that's through the aggregation for the
county.
residents. They can lock in at a certain rate for over, I don't know if that's 1 or 2 years. I don't know how
Hey,
often.
well, a resident can do it a year, 2 years.
And if
I think most
and if
do it every
anybody-
6 months.
And if anybody has, like I know November's passed, but I think a couple months ago, I got a phone call from someone about the program. And I referred them to, I got contact information.
Mhm.
And I can refer them to whoever that part of that county aggregation program is, and they can help them along as to what they need to do.
Well, remember that when they send out the letters, because those letters come out in September, October every year. something
Yeah.
like that. Because that way we can post that on the website then. That contact information.
That's
If you
good.
got this letter and have questions, here's who to call.
Because, yeah, because during that time frame, I get phone calls. Hey, is this a scam? No, it's
Yeah.
not.
I know.
It is not a scam. Well, I'm like, it's not a scam. Do you get a kickback? No, we don't get a kickback.
But back to Brandy's question, how can we force AEP to be a little more energy efficient on the streetlights that we have no choice?
We just to look at alternatives,
I mean,
if there are any out there.
can we put our own streetlights up? I don't know what the return on investment on that would be, but
We'd still have to buy power from them.
we still have to buy power from them.
Mhm.
But we buy power from them. I don't know how much, because they don't meter all of the poles. But an LED is cheaper than those big incandescent ones.
Did they spend by our own?
It would be under the maintenance. I'll talk to Mr. Little and see if he has any ideas and see if he's someone that usually gets a hold of AEP when he talks to them. So take that as an action item.
If it helps, it's not something that has to be done overnight. But maybe a 2-year plan. to replace it. I'm sure Mr. Little will be very persuasive. And try very hard.
Yes. We'll talk.
Go down your future maybe. Brian, any more questions? Do I hear a motion that we approve the report?
Yes, I'd like to move to.
Second. Questions? Hearing none? Roll call, Brian.
McCreary,
Yes.
Keller.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else have any new business? in the Finance committee? Sure.
We talked in the last meeting about officer. We're still working on getting this paperwork. Have to jump through a lot of hoops. Insurance, things like that. So ultimately, at the end of the day, Gary was great at assist for me on this, as far as helping to work everything out. Conversations about it. But as you know, we could not hire, we could not hire part-time officers. It's not gonna happen. If you remember back, and I won't go all the way back, but if you remember Jason Target, some of you may remember Jason was here. So Jason was here as a full-time officer, left, and never replaced him. So he dropped down to 2 full-time officers after he left, and then we still consider the SRO a part-time officer because 70% of his pay comes from school. So at the end of the day, what we did is we tried to take the money that we would have been using and get part-time guys. It's just not going to happen. It's not useful. So we were able to get Destin, Devin Holm, Holm, who was one of our part-time officers who had left us to go to Belmont County. His wife went over there to teach. She's a teacher. She got off from job at Fairfield Union. They were moving back in the area. And so we had already done this way background and a little bit.
This came to us from,
He was full-time with Brooksville PD. So what we did is we looked at where we are now and started to look at cost factors, and ultimately the other part of it is what's operationally able for us to do. So we decided we would bring him on as our, to fill that full-time spot that had never been filled. And even by doing that, it still leaves us, I think we came up with like 18,000 unencumbered in that pay box. So,
You want me to pull up the spreadsheet?
I'm
You
sorry.
want me to pull up the spreadsheet?
Yeah, why don't you? That'd be great. And that's Devin at the bottom. So anyway, ultimately what Devin's duties will be, he'll be coming in late in the evening and will be working till very early in the morning, either 5 or 6 a.m., depending on what calls for service are and what our matrix looks like. He's also very flexible as far as we can remove days, do whatever we can do that. And he has no issues with any of that. Now, out of that, you can see that we started to pay at $20. I base that, well, it's obviously within, it's about a little less than halfway in what the pay scale is for that position. But I base that on when I called a lot of surrounding agencies and said, where would you be with a full-time person? And they're anywhere from $20 to $23, somewhere around there. So what they're at. So he was agreeable to that. And then the rest of it, like I said, is pretty self-explanatory up there. The other good thing of it is he has all his training, he has all of everything, we don't have to train anything, we don't have to send him away for any training. And that's a big cost savings for us. He also has asked to cross-train as an SRO. So if we have some sort of an issue or whatever, we would have him also certified as a school resource officer and we would pull him in case of an emergency.
And will you do more field training with him since he's been here already?
He will, where normally we would have about 6 months of field training. He's already gone through pretty much all of that. So we're looking at probably about no more than 2 weeks of refresher training for the guy on the street. So again, it's a major win-win for the village and all the residents. And I think a lot of people are going to feel more secure knowing that if they call at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody will be right here. They're not coming from somebody.
And that still goes through the sheriff's department and then they.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing changes.
And that helps to free up the part-timers we do have to fill in other crime gap areas.
Right, and one of the things that the deputy chief and I sat down and we looked at is with the number of part-timers that we have to have in order to fill a full-time spot, plus the other spots, by adding this, it literally cuts that number by more than half the number of part-timers that we have. So that again, is the cost savings for us from that.
Chief, how many part-time do we have?
Right now, we're down to 4, and I had 9.
So we used to have 5 too. I remember seeing different people. Yeah.
Well, we had 9. 1 went to Highway Patrol. 1 went to Madison Township Police. One just said, I'm done with all this police stuff. And got it. For life, I think, but 3 of them went to take
Full-time jobs, yeah. And I don't like them.
No, I don't either. You got a family to raise.
Yeah, you gotta have-
We're trying to do. Sure. But anyway, I wanted to make sure everybody, I know we talked about it, but I wanted to make sure everybody was on board with where we were. And all
We
that.
need to.
No.
No, that's what this spreadsheet shows, Chuck.
Okay.
So like you said, the top part there is bringing Devin on at $20 an hour. And this is as of June 30th, these wages. So this is the total cost for the rest of the year, the cost of adding Mr. Home full-time, but of course, we already missed the first pay, so it's not quite going to be the 32,000. But if you scroll down here, this is the current year budget information and year-to-date expenditures as of, well, it should say June 30th now, but there's the year and the projected costs from above. So that leaves a hole of 28,000. But the part-time wages is over 59,000 right now, because as you can see, out of the 79,000 that was budgeted, we've only spent 19,000 so far. So if push comes to shove, I'm have the ability to reallocate this money up there without council's,
Basically, that $30,000 in wages to play with.
without council's authorization, because it's in the same object, because it's already been appropriated. And same thing with the PRS. I mean, we're in the good 8,800. We're short these for Medicare, police and fire and life. But as you can see, the projected cost is 4,500 shortfall versus 8,800. So again, I can shift some monies where they need to be to pay this stuff. So
Just a thought. Because we got 30,000 to work with. We can't get part-timers. 30,000 isn't quite enough for a full-time. But someone guaranteed 30 hours a week, 3/4 time. It's not going to be your younger guys who might not jump at it, or a younger one that's got some family commitments and wants to be home a little bit more money. But a more seasoned officer, 30 hours guaranteed, and then we would have 4, 5 almost full-time that you can easily plug in with the 4 part-timers to help with that gap coverage.
Well, and one of the things at the end of, between the end of this month and September, there are going to be at least 8 retirements from the sheriff's department. And 2 of them had approached me about a reserve or whatever. So if that's something we want to explore, that would be probably the best way to do that. You've got somebody that's familiar with the county, that's familiar with us, whatever.
I mean, now if you got some, and there's a couple when we do them part-time, that's fine, but if they're not interested, since it's hard to find people interested in a part-time, it's still kind of part-time, but it's almost full-time.
Well, and it saves us obviously on benefits, it saves us on a lot of things. And with these guys that retire, they're kind of in the same boat I am. They have a pension coming in, they retire because they know they can live on their pension. So ultimately, at the end of the day, what they're doing is they would be making that money as a, I won't call it bonus, but it's just be a nice little nest egg. So,
It's the vacation fund.
yeah. Younger guys, that's where we run into the problems. They all, but guys, the problem is.
So just a thought.
Question I answered pretty well.
So what's our estimated start date now regarding this?
He's got, in order to go into the fire, he had to take the stress test. He did that last Tuesday. And you get 5 days to get that back, 6 days. So I think by Friday, my goal is to have him on board Monday night, which would be starting to pay good.
he's had his physical, right?
He's completely done with everything. We're just waiting on them to send it to us.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I need that so I can send that in. Of course, he'll have paperwork that he'll have to fill out,
Right.
the enrollment and so forth. Okay.
Anybody have any questions?
More new business.
Okay, I just want to say more.
Yeah. So before you, you have an ordinance 2022-22. This is the agreement that we enter into with the Liberty Union Thurston School District for an SRO. So we'd like to have a sponsor for this and then vote on it tonight. And
You need to be, does it need to be, you need an answer tonight, or you want to go more one reading? I mean, it's something we do all every year anyway, it's nothing new, but.
Yeah, because it says in effect from
Yes.
July 2022.
we do.
Okay.
So we need a sponsor.
Well, I
Take the concept.
mean, we do this every year, but it also says that automatically renews each year, so what did we change?
Okay, that's what we changed. So,
The automatic renewal?
yes.
Okay.
And
So
the dates.
the dates, and so we're just doing a new one and we'll be good, and next year we won't have to do this.
Can I ask a question about the automatic renewal?
For,
What does it include? I'm looking for it right now. And this is based off of our pay of the officer. So if the officer pay goes up, their percentage goes up, but it's not locked into a rate.
It's basically, I project what it's gonna cost us for a full year for Brett. That'd be his wages and any benefits that he has. And I take 75% of that number. The 75% comes into play. You're in school 9 months of the year. 9 months, 9/12 is 75%.
Yeah, I guess.
So as his rates go up, that
I'm
percentage,
just making sure
Yes.
on the auto renewals, because that's the contract so far.
Okay,
I'll sponsor.
you want, I'm sorry. Okay.
Sponsor.
And I'll second it if you take it to council. Brian,
okay. McCreary,
Yes.
Keller.
yes. Discussion, hearing none. Yeah, everyone. Okay, any more new business? for finance? Hearing none. Next meeting will be August the 8th. Monday morning at 6 o'clock.
Ready whenever you are.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:33 PM. Roll call, please.
Reedy,
Here.
Schaffner, Foreman.
We also have in attendance the mayor, village administrator, the police chief, Mike Tussey, the fiscal officer, Brian, and 2 other council members. Can I have approval of the minutes of June 13th?
I just looked at them, I think I find it.
Softener seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Do you want a discussion? Do we need roll call? Okay, any discussion? Roll call?
Roll call. Okay, Foreman,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes. We don't have any visitors. Employee evaluation form is our 2022 goals. I believe we have tonight to look over. Does anybody have any questions or comments about them?
So along with the position descriptions you have tonight, that would be for the village administrator and the street superintendent and the 2 employees. These are the revised position descriptions. I need to call attention to the street supervisor's position description. You now see project inspector on the bottom of it. We have kind of rearranged so that Mr. Boucher will be fulfilling the position of when we have a project. And like today, we had our final walkthrough for the park drive. He will be on Tim will be the one that will be inspecting the project with the contractor. We also will do periodic inspections during the project itself. This is a cost savings to the village because usually that is bid out through an engineering company. But we believe that Tim has enough expertise that we'd like to try to have him be this project inspector. So going forward, that's the biggest change in street was the addition of those responsibilities to Tim's area. Also, I have passed out an org chart. This org chart shows you exactly how we're structured now. If you have any questions, then let me know. I did it by department and by employees' names, so you know who went where. Out of this, once we get these approved, then I'll come up with my KPI, my key performance indicators, and then put them in the evaluation form for you to look at. Kind of, I think we talked about, Darla said that in her past experience, the kind of evaluation we're using was kind of normal. So what we want to do is be more specific to the areas. So I will take the key, KPIs from each one of these descriptions now and add those to that evaluation. So it's more, the evaluation forms are more towards the person in that area. That's the goal.
On the street workers,
Mhm.
I know some of them don't have CDLs, but it's really not easy for them to get them. Is there any language regarding CDLs?
Both of these street workers have CDL,
I guess I missed
temporary
it out
hats.
before.
It's not a requirement, you know, ability to obtain a CDL within 6 or 9 months.
But it's not on the job description. It needs to be there.
It just says.
Right, we could literally end up with
Sure.
a situation where no one can drive.
Oh, yeah, it is on the second
Oh,
page.
okay.
If you turn, I thought we had talked about that. So the second page under necessary knowledge, skills and abilities, you will see the added number C CDL license. This is
I
under-
don't have that on mine.
Oh, I know why. Oh, okay. So I did notice that Bart grabbed the wrong one. So let me make you a copy
Okay.
of the revised one. So you are correct. It's not there on the copy you have. So let me make. copies.
And should that be on Tim's also, the street? I mean, everybody in that,
Yeah, I mean, Tim's first and foremost, the street workers need to get it within a certain time frame. I mean,
but is it on there? In case Tim's not there anymore, is it on there?
Yeah, I was gonna say the street supervisor one should actually be required at the time of hiring, I would think. And then the
it's
other.
also
the other-
starting to make hiring a lot harder because a class B is all that we probably should require, because I don't think we need a class A.
Right,
And a class A can walk into any place and make 6 figures.
so you could require a class B
That's a fact. Yeah,
at
that's
the
not.
time of hiring, otherwise, like you said, we end up in the spot where we have
The back truck's parking, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or
that-
even the
even
freight
the
line.
dump, yeah.
Freight line.
I think, yeah, it makes sense because the supervisor being
Yeah.
required and then the others have the ability to get it
Right.
within.
When we put out the job interview or ask for job interviews, that is one of the things that we talk about. And that's why both Scott and Dylan have commit packs right now.
Well, and we just said that the street supervisor, the original guy, really needs to have one before hire. And it's not on there. The street,
Underneath the,
Tim, I'm gonna say Tim's.
that's
Tim's
fine.
position.
I don't see where that says.
Let me look at that real quick. You do have the right one on that.
Yeah, that should be added to his requirements.
I think we should specify the class B is sufficient.
Is that a part of the CDL as Class B?
Class B is pretty much single axle trucks.
Got it.
I believe if you look at trailer, that single axle truck requires not that.
And is that what the street,
Single axle.
If you put a trailer on a single axle truck that require a class A or class A, class B stuff.
I think class B, I think class B says that.
Class A is
Class B would be to drive any one vehicle with a gross vehicle weight of 26,001 pounds or more. Do not have a trailer over 10,000. Okay. So
is that what we have?
that'd be a big trailer.
Our equipment trailers are over 10,000.
I don't usually use it though. Yeah, basics, two axle trailers, 7,000.
And then
The
you-
up version goes to 12. But we rarely use a trailer of any size because we drive the back across town. So,
Right.
So,
Okay, so I've added underneath necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities on Class B CDL
For
So-
the street
for
service
for
worker.
Tim's.
And then Tim's, yeah, you're right.
she's not CDL. If you add the trailer to the truck, I don't know what her truck is rated at. There's a very high likelihood that you add this together.
Well, she doesn't use the big truck.
Probably
She
rated
doesn't need a CDL for that truck.
until she has a trailer to it. We'd have to check that.
That's what I'm saying. Are you saying that our big trailer that she uses might?
It's a 7,000 pound, I don't know what the rating of the truck is.
Right.
It's not a regular half-ton pickup truck's 10,000. So those two have his on 17. There's a good chance the truck she's driving is not rated more than 20.
We're talking
Yeah.
trailer and truck
So she
together.
probably,
It's on the door.
okay, yeah. But it'll
She's
be-
probably all right.
as long as it's just the zero turns and that.
My little flatbed, which looks exactly the same as her truck, is 25,999. So the minute I hook any trailer to it, it's a CDL truck. And it's a 12-foot flatbed. Pretty much like, yeah, but ours is, there's trucks all look alike. You have to read the door to get it. I think 26, 25 now. Yeah. Yeah, it beats you to death.
Wow.
You want to put a load on it just to drive it across town because your kid is hurt by the time you get across town.
I added that.
Are we okay with the employee evaluation forms now?
I didn't see anything else that I had questions about.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to the cemetery project. I thought that was completed.
No, cemetery project. I hope it's completed by the end of the year before Faith leaves. Faith Rogers has been doing our inventory, Barb's putting it to paper, she's doing the inventory. She has all of Boswell Memorial is completed.
Okay,
So she did both the grounds and the mausoleum. So now she is at Maple Grove on section B. So once she gets section B done, she will be going to the mausoleum. And if she can get those done, then it looks like our project will be pretty much put together. And then I will put together changes that I think we need to make. We've made some changes in the process already. And then also have you look at the rates to see if you think we should be increasing our rates. So we're moving right along. I hope that we have that done before Faith leaves for school, or at least by the end of the year.
any other discussion on that? Move on to old business, electronic or online time tracking software. What have we decided?
I believe probably the best solution to this with everything that we do currently, and I always hate to say we've always did it this way, but I think we just need to go out and buy the needed time cards we need and install it.
And you feel that way?
To track when employees come and when they leave.
No, I understand. that
Oh,
part, but
okay,
I
sorry.
mean,
Depends on the
why
cost.
would you rather that, yeah, the cost, and why do you think that's better than
The electronic,
computer login or whatever?
Well, first of all, I didn't find any electronic, that's not going to create, first of all, they're not going to mesh together with Brian's, UAN.
UAN,
Yes,
okay.
and that's the issue.
Right.
Right now, we have it refined so that he just takes the worksheet and then he inputs it. There is nothing that we're going to find that's going to bridge that gap, to go directly from a piece of software into the UAN. And UAN doesn't have anything we can use, correct, Brian? So you looked in that, so. And I guess the best way to do it is just. The government.
Yeah. So what's this going to cost us then, do you believe?
That I'm not sure. I'll have to find to see. I think I need 3. So I would say it's gonna cost maybe a couple thousand. Otherwise, we continue letting them just fill out their Excel spreadsheet and submit it that way. Right now, the ones that don't punch, fill out Excel spreadsheet, send it to me for approval, and then any, at that time, then I look to see if they've taken any like personal days, vacation days, bereavement, whatever, and then I pass them on to Brian. That's kind of our process now. The only thing that's missing from those timesheets, then right now, Tim is the only one that has a time clock, is that they do have a punch card. Everybody else has just the Excel spreadsheet that they use.
So there's no website they can access for photos, just have it on one central location.
No, that's not, there is, but it's going to mean someone's still gonna have to put it on an Excel spreadsheet for Brian
Which
to input it to UAN.
Yeah, which
So
the
that's what
time
I'm
card,
saying.
the time clock would be the same.
Time clock would be the same, but more conducive to the process that we do.
I mean, if you're putting it on the spreadsheet, though, I would imagine the
Seems like it'd be
electronic system would have a
Easier to use the
report.
data for different purposes.
Yeah, that they would have a
Time card.
report that would print out this employee X hours. Because Brian, do you have to enter it for each day, or do you just enter the weekly?
I just enter it by total.
By total?
And
Like
we,
a-
and the
so-
spreadsheet does it by daily.
I would imagine the time clock system would have a report though that would print out, show me all employees' times for week beginning and ending.
I don't, yeah, but the time in and time out. But during the day, Tim might spend a couple hours out on the street. He might spend a couple hours.
Because of the allocation.
Allocation.
So they would
Time
still,
clock doesn't solve that either.
No.
No,
So I guess I'm just saying, it seems like it'd be easier and better to digitize the information right out the gate than to punch a paper card and then have to convert it to digitized information.
And are you saying continue with the Excel spreadsheets, or what do you mean digitize?
Well, I would just think
Software?
that there's a software that we'd be able to just log on with their phone and clock in or clock out.
Can we not find one?
I could look into
2000?
that, but I felt like other people were looking into it, so I didn't.
No, we did look into it, Rick, but it was just, there wasn't anything that we could find that we didn't have to have that initial middle step of, 6 hours in street, 2 hours in pool, whatever it was. We still had to have that,
Right.
the
so
issue isn't the clock in, clock out, it's how it's out.
how it's allocated. And we use that big time for budgeting,
yes.
big time.
But I guess my point was that time clocks don't solve that either, right?
No, you're
Okay.
right, you're right. The Excel spreadsheets that we get are really what I really rely on.
So the employees are doing it, are basically filling in an Excel spreadsheet for you and not doing it clock in, clock out.
That is correct. On the ones.
So
that
they're
we have.
allocating their time at the same time, but
That is
logging it
correct.
out.
That is correct.
I mean,
That part of it will let you change it.
no. Attorney time tracking works that way, because we bill by client. So, at the end of the week, you look at it and say, you got this, and it's out, and there are apps for attorneys. But I can see where it would be hard to find it something for work, especially because, you go to Lancaster. I mean, the street guy's the street guy, pick out the street fund. The water guys are the water guys, and if the water guy in Lancaster has to tear up the road to fix the water line, the water guy in Lancaster tears up the road to fix the water line, not the street guy.
That's
So-
quite different.
So that, I can see that can be difficult, but like, so kind of with Rick, the time card doesn't solve the issue either.
Yeah,
They're
it
still,
doesn't solve the issue.
they're still entering a worksheet, so why are we spending?
Do we not
$1,000
feel
on time clocks?
comfortable with the Excel spreadsheet?
I do.
I
I feel
do.
comfortable. Brian feels comfortable. With the what they're doing now with filling out their hours. Yes, I feel very
So-
comfortable.
They-
with that.
I believe they even do that daily. It's
Mhm,
not
they
like
do.
at the end of 2 weeks, Tim goes,
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
Dylan, okay, out this day, what did you work? I'm pretty sure they do it daily. So all they have to do at the end of the week, it's already tabulated, you just send it to Terry for approval, gives it to me, and I enter the hours in, so many hours to streets, so many hours to parks, so many hours to whatever.
So then again, what is the purpose of buying time clocks?
They serve, okay, this is just my opinion, they serve two different, the spreadsheets and the time clocks serve two different functions, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
One is to keep track of your time to see where the money is allocated from, and the other one is just to see what time you clocked in and what time you clocked out to make sure people are coming to work on time basically and not leaving early is really a lot of time does. So
I don't think we have that issue.
I just have had firsthand experience in not having that information. And then winding up in a court case. And literally the judge does not believe that I do not have it. Like, you don't make people clock in and clock out, like, no. That's private business, that's different than public.
that's kind of my
But you know, then a court case began, and I'm telling an attorney that I don't have that information, and he is calling me a liar.
How can you not have that?
How can you
information?
possibly not have that basic information?
Yeah.
I just do not believe you, Mr. Foreman.
Yeah.
So just personal experience. That is part of record keeping. We're skipping that part of record. keeping. I get it, the other part's important too, but, you know, it's just one of those situations where if something would come up as far as labor law, they're gonna want those records, and we're gonna say we don't have.
just as an example, I mean, just as an example, not that you say we don't have this problem and I believe you, but if we did have a problem employee who was coming in late, leaving early, just skimming a little bit here, a little bit there, and you terminated them over it, like it did not improve over time. So you terminated them over it. I don't know if you would or not, but then yes, and then they sue you and say,
Because their spreadsheet says they come in at 7 a.m.
Because that's what they wrote down.
Sure.
yeah,
No, we don't have to do it. I'm just saying,
yeah, I agree.
I can't imagine that we don't.
I mean, there's,
There's pros and cons. I mean, you can also have a person that's clocking in for someone else. I've run into that situation before, but I understand the difference between the two. Are you feeling we need to do both? I guess that's what I'm saying.
and I'm wondering if there isn't an available resource that would just a little bit work to satisfy those requirements. Because you're using a spreadsheet. And we want the ability to track clocking in and clocking out. And it'd be nice, they could have their phone. What about, since we have Office 365, there's a forms program on there, works very similar to Google Forms, and everybody's used a Google Form. So each morning when they get now, they can clock in from their car on the way in, it's on their phone.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, I'm here today, you know, and I'm starting in streets. Oh, at 10 a.m. they pull out their phone before they start hopping over the water, and then they can log it as they go instead of at the end of the day. Again, they could clock in from their car when they're 10 minutes out. And that's a little harder because if someone else is clocking in for them, eventually we're gonna find that out. And it's harder to find.
Well, two people were doing something wrong.
Yeah, then two people are doing something wrong. But when you do those records, it adds the timestamp that you do it. So when someone says, you know, I started at 7 o'clock, there's a timestamp that says they started this at 7 o'clock, or, oh no, I ended this at 8 o'clock. But it has its own problems. So I know it's kind of hard to clock in, clock out. Just for the record, just for the record.
Yeah, like I say, we don't have to do it. It's just,
I doubt if anything came up later in the legal case, if they would believe that we don't require it.
To clock in and clock out.
Firsthand experience, I'm telling you.
Now that you say it, it makes sense. What do you mean you have an hourly employee that doesn't punch in and punch out?
Yeah,
Sure, if your salary, fine, but an hourly
yeah, the
employee
later sued you over such
that doesn't,
information, and now I'm saying, I don't even have it.
that doesn't punch in and punch out,
They're making
I
a claim that I can't prove or disprove.
yeah, I can.
Or they say that they've worked overtime and didn't get paid for it. And we have no record to prove that they worked overtime or didn't work overtime.
Yeah.
So,
And that would be easy to do on the weekend shift if we had a dishonest. And I don't think any of the employees we
No.
have right now are
No.
doing anything,
No, no, no.
but we have to prepare for the future. That'd be really easy to do on the weekend. I came in at 8 and they don't show up until 10.
Yeah.
But if they have to do a time clock, then we know they were doing it.
So do we, yeah. So do we need a motion to purchase time
I
clocks?
think at this time, we just need a proposal of what we should do.
It's within my, it's below the amount that I'm allowed to spend. So we're good.
Perfect.
And
Okay,
there's money appropriated. that you can have for
Yeah.
office.
So we're good.
so it sounds like that's what we,
You just need it.
So I can just report at service committee how much they are.
perfect,
How they work and everything.
okay. Any further discussions on the electronic and online tracking? Right, any new business? All right. Next meeting will be held on Monday, second Monday in August, August 8th at 6:45, or immediately following the finance committee. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Or we make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
are you asking or are you seconding?
Oh.
Schaffner second. Schaffner
Schaffner
second.
second. Meeting adjourned.
6:58.
I'll send this link to you.
Uh,
And then bring this on.